Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast. Today, it's Car Review Tuesday, our twice-weekly review of what's inside our new car showroom. All right, Mr. Mars, it's time for the new car showroom, and you got a chance to drive the Jeep Wrangler with the diesel in it. How'd that work out?
I want to tell you, I was really impressed with this, and I want to tell you, we had the opportunity. You talked a lot about the vehicle earlier. It is a midsize SUV. We were in the four-door Jeep. We were actually in a Sahara trim level. And so it comes with the standard Dana 44 axles, the transfer case. But, the Jeep itself, as you mentioned, has evolved over the years. And it's gotten a little longer, a little wider with a 7-slot grille always being there so that you can always tell that it's Jeep. Got the removable doors, the folding windshield, the soft top options on it, aluminum door panels and skid plates, all these things that make a Jeep what a Jeep is. And we also had the headlights, the LED headlights, fog lights, and the power soft top on the vehicle that we were in. And so you get into the inside because it is a Sahara, and we were talking about leather trimmed seats. We had the 8.4-inch Uconnect screen, and it was all. That's where you're going to find all your convenience controls for the air conditioning, the heater, your backup camera, your Wi-Fi hotspot for the media hub. And we also had an Alpine premium audio system with some really cool speakers that were mounted to the roll bar system that was inside. Now, what we really wanted to talk about on this is the 3.0-liter EcoDiesel V6. Now, this thing has 260 horsepower, 442 pound-feet of torque. And the really cool thing, this is kind of it is the EcoDiesel, but it's a Generation 3. They've kind of gone through it. This is a Fiat engine, and it's very similar, but it is all new. And they've actually bumped the compression ratio from 16.1 up to 16.5 on this thing.
Wow.
And there's also a new 8-speed automatic that sits behind it that's designed for the Wrangler, partially to get it all in there where it's supposed to be. Now, when you go to drive this thing, we were in Utah. We were at an off-road facility that literally that's all it is for off-roads. We had Camp Jeep guys were out there, and they were showing us where to go. Obviously,
teaching you how to drive off-road.
And pointing the line out, right. Because some places, we've got a video we're working on, you can see you go a foot or two the wrong direction, and you're going to roll that thing off into a ditch.
Except it's
not a ditch. No, it's not a ditch.
Okay.
It's a big cavern. But the thing that I found,
I wanted to see that on video.
That whenever I drove the V6 Wrangler a year or two before, we were in Arizona, but they had a pile of rocks, and we were actually doing rock climbing, which we don't do much down here in Southeast Texas. So I had that experience, and then I got here with the diesel. And what I found, in my opinion, in the diesel, because of that low-end torque, the way a diesel functions, you could put it down and drive, and you didn't really have to do much with the accelerator.
Gas, right?
Yeah, it would that torque and that power of it, you could almost let it walk itself up. You might have to give it a little bit, but sometimes, with the V6.
Just to start it moving, yeah.
Yes. If you hit the V6, and I haven't had the four-cylinder Don was talking about, but sometimes you put a foot on the gas and maybe you give it a little too much or something like that. The diesel made it so much easier to me to smooth because you didn't have to touch it. The diesel's not going to rev up like a V6 or a V8 is. It's going to be a little slower to spin up. And I just thought, in my opinion, driving that in the off-road rock crawling, and there was some sand and
it
stuff
kind of
there.
matched the off-road need of a Jeep.
It actually did, that slow thing. But you got into the sand, and if you needed to spin it up, you can still spin it up like you would do down here in the mud gumbo and the sand that we have. So I was really impressed because of the torque and the 8-speed automatic, the way it matched together. I don't know how it would be a challenge to me to use it with a manual gearbox, because now you got to deal with the clutch, and you got to deal with the rocks, and you got to deal with that torque. And it may actually be easier. I don't know. But driving it was really, really different. And I think from an off-roader's perspective, I think that would be something I would look at. Of course, it's a diesel. It's going to cost you a little bit to get it, and the 8-speed, because that is a special 8-speed for that diesel engine to go into the Wrangler. Yeah. So you got to kind of package it together. And our MSRP is tested, bumped up around $56,750.
Still not bad.
You could step up again to a Rubicon to get a little bit more, bigger tires, bigger suspension, and everything for the off-road world. And that's really what I would like to maybe sometime try to get that full effect. Because this was the Sahara. This is more of a streeter. but it was definitely got the trail rated and definitely will go off-road any place. I got enough guts to take it.
Yeah, but how fun is that you get a little instruction about how to go off-road from the Camp Jeep guys?
And one of those places that we've got in the video where somebody was following behind us, and I got out and I was taking the video. They got off the line a little bit. The tire spun. The Jeep shifted sideways. And so
everybody in it puckered up.
Yes, they did. So the guy, he very calmly, and she was very good at it. She followed his instructions, but they had to back up a little bit to get back on line, because another foot over, it would have dropped off enough. They would have been high centered, and then you'd have had a problem.
Screaming like a 7-year-old girl at the edge of a cliff. Wouldn't have helped.
Don wasn't there.
So you're talking about me again? Oh my God.
So I really think, kind of like Don was talking about the 4-cylinder, it really makes a difference in the Jeep vehicle.
Depending on what your needs are.
That's right. And I
Jeep has the answer for you. Turbo 4-cylinder, V6.
The diesel.
Turbo V6 diesel.
I think that the off-roaders are going to love this as it gets more into the market.
Hey, thanks for checking us out. In Wheel Time is streamed on Facebook and YouTube and is broadcast every Saturday in Houston on ESPN 97.5 FM.